That's an interesting one because that's quite poetic in the way that it's been asked. Because people are obviously looking at their addictive personality or their addictive tendencies and seeing that maybe it is emotional. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to search for some of the most relevant search terms on Google when it comes to mental health and counselling, so that we can start to talk about the different issues that are being searched for, and most popular ones too, so that you can get an idea about how counselling works, what mental health is, and how you can use it to your advantage. So first off, mental health is important, is not an excuse, is important as physical health, is real, is defined as. Can we see here that mental health is being seen as something which is a part of all of our lives? And this is something that's so different from the way it was even a couple of years ago, because mental health has always had a stigma, whereas now we're starting to see that the world is taking it seriously. So it's really good. I'm really happy. It's no joke. Fantastic. Mental health is deteriorating. That's interesting, isn't it? How people are seeing mental health as deteriorating because of maybe the world we're living in, or maybe it's because it's more prevalent within our society, because people are just expected to keep calm and carry on and not focus on their mental health. Whereas now we're being told about mental health more. We're seeing it, and actually we're starting to figure out when people are feeling not mentally healthy. It's one of those things, isn't it? Because on one hand, we say, well, there's no mental health issues because we're not talking about it. But once we start talking about it, people are more open to it, people are getting more help, and they're looking for it, and they're being braver by doing so. So is mental health deteriorating, or is it because we are more in tune with mental health issues so that we can help more people? Let's click on it. Let's just see what it says. Mental health charities, mood assessment. Look, so much more help is available to us, which is fantastic, isn't it? So is it getting worse, or has it always been bad? It's just now we're starting to see it more. Okay, next. Does therapy work? I mean, that's the first thing that I would thought would come up, because people might want it, but there's no real definition or way of knowing if it's going to work for you. And therapy has been shown scientifically to work. But the number one thing that helps when it comes to therapy is not the style of therapy or what the therapist does, but it's trust, the therapeutic relationship, it's called, between the client and the therapist. So when choosing your own therapist, you've got to make sure that you click with that person. It can't just be anyone, or someone's recommended someone, that means that you're going to get on with them. No, why don't you make that decision for yourself? Know what it is they're doing and build that relationship with them so you can trust them and they can help you because they trust you too. It's a lot of hard work going to therapy, and that's okay, because anything that's important is going to be hard. So make sure that you put your mind into it, but also have that relationship with your therapist so that it does work. Does therapy cost money in the UK? Well, this is to do with the NHS, because if you go private, you're probably going to have to pay unless you've got private healthcare, but they only take care of a couple of sessions anyway. But you can go through the NHS and it's free, but unfortunately at the moment there are huge waiting lists. So you might be waiting 6 months to a year for your first bout of 6 sessions. You can go privately though, and you could see someone straight away, and you can pick that person who you go and see. Does therapy help anxiety? Does therapy work? Does therapy help depression? Here we are, just the statistics as well. People are looking for help. People are hoping to get it from seeing a therapist, but it's tough, isn't it? Because we're going to put time and money into seeing a therapist. We want to make sure it works. We want to make sure we get a return on our investment. And that's really important to think about when you go and see a therapist. You need to work out how much money you've got, how long you want to be doing this for, and what your issues and needs are. And make sure you find the right therapist for you. And just like does therapy, let's look at does counselling to see if there's a difference. Does counselling, well, it's pretty much the same thing, because therapy and counselling in the UK at least are seen as pretty much the same thing. You go and see a therapist, you go and see a counsellor, and people call themselves all different things, such as a psychotherapist, psychoanalyst, therapist, counsellor. They're all interchangeable. The only one that isn't is a psychologist, because you need to go and to do a master's or an undergraduate degree to call yourself a psychologist. Whereas a counsellor, a psychotherapist, you don't need that. So it's important when you're picking your therapist to know what it is that you're picking. As an example, I'm both a counselor and a psychologist, because not only have I done a counseling diploma, I've also done a master's in psychology. Next search term is mental health. A disability, genetic, hereditary. A disability, okay, people want to find out if it's something that's going to maybe stay with them forever. And, you know, some mental health disorders do cause people to be disabled. They have wrapped with anxiety, unable to go out of the house, agoraphobia, fear of going outside into open spaces, claustrophobia, fear of being imprisoned or made to be in a small confined space. You have so many different ways in which anxiety, depression and tension live within us. And mental health disorders can be debilitating, stopping you from living a normal life. So it depends on the severity of it, and also it depends on how it affects you. Next, is mental health genetic? Is it hereditary? People trying to find out if they're more susceptible, more likely to get a mental health condition. Is mental health a medical condition? That's interesting for me, because people are prescribed mental health drugs, anti-anxiety meds, anti-depression meds, trying to get them back to normality so that they're able to make the best decisions for them and live without that surge of emotion that's dictating what they're doing. The anxiety can really get in the way of you being able to feel in control of your life. So in that respect, yes, it is a medical condition, but that doesn't mean that drugs are the only way to treat mental health disorders. See someone that's going to help you to understand what's going on in your head so that you can make new pathways, a new relationship to that anxiety and to what you're feeling, so that you're able to use it and position yourself outside of it so that it stops you from needing the drugs. So then the drugs come down, your health and mental ability goes up, both the medical profession and also the counseling profession being used at the same time in order to alleviate mental health conditions. Okay, next. Addiction is a response to emotional pain. Well, okay, that's an interesting one, because that's quite poetic in the way that it's been asked. Because people are obviously looking at their addictive personality or their addictive tendencies and seeing that maybe it is emotional. Because the reason why we get addicted to things is because it's stopping us from having to deal with something else that's going on. And addiction doesn't just need to be drugs and alcohol. It can be addicted to a certain action, video games, going for walks, procrastinating, doing anything excessively that's getting in the way of a part of your life is an addiction. So when it comes to addiction as a response to emotional pain, why is it that we get addicted to that thing? Well, let's think about it. If you're in control or know what to do and feel confident doing that thing, and you've got all this other stuff that's going on over here that's leading you to feel anxiety, depression, tension and stress, no wonder you end up procrastinating and going more into that addiction over and over and over again, because it's giving you a sense of validity, happiness, contentment, security. Why would you ever want to go and do this stuff, which is a little bit more dangerous and anxiety provoking, because you don't know what you're doing here. You haven't got the confidence to go and do it. So then, with that being said, of course, addiction is a response to some sort of emotion that's stopping you from wanting to focus on this and do this instead. So what I do is to work out why this addictive action or addictive substance is so alluring. Why do you keep on doing this? And then I transition some of this over here. I mean, this is a long piece of work, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an introduction as to how I would treat this search term. And I would happen to agree with that. It is a response to that emotional pain. Next, addiction. Is it a family disease? Looking at brain scans, they can see that addictive tendencies in your brain and the way the brain is wired is passed down through generations. There's this great theory called the potential theory, and it's nature-nurture. Nature from your parents, looking at if they were addicted to things, such as if there's a long line of addictive behavior. And after that, we go into nurture, looking at the way that you've been brought up, what your situation has been, what you have been introduced to, what sort of life that you've had. And you add those two parts up and it gives you a potential score, a metaphorical score that says if you're more likely or less likely to have addictive personality traits. Because by looking at that, you can start to figure out what things are causing you to feel addicted, and also why it is that you might have that more addictive personality. Whereas some people can do something and it's fine for them, whereas other people get addicted instantly. Next, addiction is a brain disease. I mean, well, I'm not sure it's a disease. There's nothing going on there. It's just that nature, nurture, potential score that I've just been talking about. Addiction is the opposite of connection. Okay, I'm not sure what that's all about. Addiction is a brain disease and it matters. It does matter, yes, indeed. I'm not sure, I'm not sure it's a brain disease because it's something that's learnt and something that you have a more potential to exhibit. It's not about having something infecting you. Remember, it doesn't have to be your fault. Which a lot of people feel if someone's addicted to something, whether it's drugs or alcohol, that they've done something and they don't have the willpower to change, or it's their fault because they should be stronger and they shouldn't let it get over them. Because look at me, I'm not addicted. Well, no, this isn't correct. Some people are more likely to get addicted based on their genetics, based on the life they've led. And if you think about it in terms of someone's lived a really hard life, that might be the only place they can feel happy and content. Whether it's drugs, alcohol, or a habit. Anxiety is ruining my life, is the dizziness of freedom. Anxiety is killing me. Anxiety is through the roof. Anxiety is exhausting. This is really sad, isn't it? So many people typing in anxiety is ruining my relationship, and anxiety can really get you down because you don't feel there's any way out of it. But the irony is anxiety can be used in order to push you forward. That's the thing about all of our emotions. All they're trying to do is to teach us a message, tell us when there's something that needs changing. Anxiety just gets built up and up and up if not used correctly, which is when it becomes debilitating. We're not able to see a way out of it. Remember, for you, if you're feeling anxious, think about what you need to do in order to use and get rid of that anxiety. But there is a way for you to get rid of that anxiety, again, just by taking action. And action is so hard to do at the start. Something that I help people to work on is how they can start actioning their anxiety so that you start chipping away at it, and all of a sudden you're starting to do more and more and more. And that anxiety, again, isn't seen as an enemy, but it's seen as a friend. Someone that's just saying, do something, motivate yourself to do something, so that instead of being scared of that anxiety, you're seeing it as something which is not nice to feel in the moment, but as soon as you feel it, you're going to take action and you're going to find a new way to deal with that task. And the last search I'm going to look for is, am I? And this could draw so many things up. It might not even be anything to do with mental health, but I'm just curious to see what am I brings up. Am I tier 4? Am I pregnant? Am I depressed? The third search term on Google is, am I depressed? And remember, this is an incognito tab. So it's not like I've been searching for this. This is just the most normal thing to come up. Am I autistic? Again, this is something else. The question is, if you do feel you are autistic, maybe go and speak to a doctor about that. Am I depressed quiz? Another question talking about depression, mental health, because people don't know if they're depressed or not. And if you're asking that question, it's probably a good idea to go and speak to someone about it. Do the quiz. I'm not sure how accurate it will be, but it's better to start with that than to do nothing at all. Really, really well done if you're typing in these search terms, by the way, because it's showing you that there is something going on here and something that you have more space in order to go out and do. It's great, because I'm not sure a couple of years ago people would even be searching for, am I depressed? They've just taken a deep breath in and just carried on, hoping it's going to go away. Am I overweight? And am I overweight is something which, if you don't know, or if you're feeling a little bit bigger, because we're not able to go outside or go to the gym or do that stuff, it's a good idea that you get checked out. Because being overweight doesn't just hurt you in terms of your physical health, but can also hurt you in terms of your mental health too. So it's something that's really important to go out and do and sort out, because it's about having control over your life. If you need help with any of this stuff, go and speak to someone. I can't tell you how important it is and how much it will change your life to go and see someone who's trained to help you to get out of whatever issues that you're facing. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're starting to see where mental health is, where counselling and therapy is, and also how things are changing in the world and what benefit seeing a counsellor or therapist will have for you. Remember to like this video, subscribe, see plenty more to come. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.